Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Behind the Veil. I have an absolutely wonderful night that we're going to talk about relationships. Yesterday just finished, and we are finished with Valentine's Day. And the question on the field is: Are we? What kind of communication are we having? Are the relationships not good because we're not communicating right in our relationships? Dr. Scott, I'm so happy that you're here, man. This is going to be a good conversation, and I'm going to need all the help I can. If there's a female that would like to come in to us, let me know. I'll email you the link so you can bring your face in so we can have a conversation. But we're talking about relationships tonight. We're talking about, are we good communicators, or are we flunking on that area in our relationship? What is it that is required? We got so many mixed signals. Why? I have a whole lot of questions. Why is it you can't be good friends with your wife, but you can be good friends with your friends? It's hard to tell the wife everything, but you easy to tell your friend. So this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome tonight. I got somebody else. We got somebody. We going to talk about it, especially with men. What is going on? Why? Look, get everybody. We want to find out, are we jacked up in our relationships because we do not know how to communicate properly? Y'all know how I do, though. I'm Stephen Williams. Welcome to Behind the Veil. They call me the good bishop. Ain't nobody good like God, and ain't nobody good. We just trying to be like him. On Friday night, I did something, and I got an old raggedy voice today. And on Friday night, I took a hymn, and I enjoyed singing the hymn so much. Dr. McRavion. I'm looking at that McRavion. That's how we say our name, McRavion. Dr. Scott, I went and took the hymn, and this is my version of it. It's a little quartetish, and then it's a little Fred Hammondish, Nim, and all that good stuff. Good evening to everybody. Welcome to Behind the Veil. This is the song of the week. It's just an old hymn that I did on Friday. And boy, this is going, I know it, bro. Rudy, good communication should eliminate harsh, boy, wait a minute, hold on. I got to put that up on there. Good communication should eliminate harsh confrontation. Oh, yes, sir. You starting off already. Here's our song. Here's our song for the week. I might not play all this song because, come on, women, we gonna have a good time. But this is my version of "I Am Thine, O Lord." I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. This is just me hanging out. Forgive the mistakes. I am thine, oh Lord. I have heard thy voice, and it told thy love to me. But I long to rise in the arms of faith and be closer drawn to thee. Yes, sir. Draw me nearer, oh blessed Lord, to the cross where thou Consecrate me now to thy service, Lord, by the power of grace divine. Let my soul look up, yes, sir, with a steadfast hope, Lord, and my will, let it be lost in thine. Draw me nearer, oh Lord, nearer, blessed Lord, to the cross, where thou hast died, where thou hast died. Draw me near, yes, sir. To thy precious bleeding side, to thy precious bleeding side, to thy precious bleeding, and bleeding side, to thy precious bleeding. Here come Fred. Bleeding side. Said I want to be close to you. Yes, sir. Got to be close to you. I gotta get closer to you, Lord. Yes, I do. Need to be close to you. I need to be closer to you. Want to be close to you. To thy precious. Good God Almighty. Bleeding want to be close to you. Lord, I want to be close to you. Yeah, Lord. Got to be close to you. I just got to be close to you. Need to be close to you. Lord, I need to be closer. Want to be close to you. Want to be close to thy precious. Your precious bleeding side. I want to get closer, Lord. I want to keep on remembering your suffering, Lord Jesus. Your bleeding side. Oh, Lord, don't want to forget your sacrifice. Don't want to forget your labor of love. Good Lord have mercy. I did it on Friday and I just had to go into the studio and lay it down. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was I Am Thine, O Lord. That's my old version. And I just wanted to give us something before we get into all this communication and whether or not we jacked up. Listen, I loved it. I did it Friday, and I just had to get in the studio and do it. Y'all forgive all the mistakes and stuff like that. I'm gonna be a good singer one of these days. Boy, if I was in my 20s and had all this stuff, I'd be singing up a storm. But honey, I'm a little older now, and so here we go. All right. So tonight I'm bringing in my man, and we had a great conversation last week about relationships and whether or not we are effective communicators. And he said something that I told him, we need to have a conversation about this. We need to talk about it. And I'm bringing in my brother, my friend. He is, I should make him a co-host, but he trying to be a doctor. Every time I turn around, he in somebody's lab writing another paper or something. Can't keep him still about nothing. So he, Mr. Dr. James McGravion. I saw that his wife went over last week. God bless her soul. She AKA Ann at A&T. I mean, she just got that all wrong all the way around. I mean, she went there, what's his damn state? I'm trying to figure out what happened. I mean, she over there posing in front of the people in North Carolina, A&T. We went there. Anyway, I'm bringing in my man. Unmute yourself. You got yourself muted and I can't unmute your mic.
How you doing, good Bishop?
I am doing well, sir. How are you? Let me move us over here together and let us be together. Let us break bread together on our knees.
All right.
Here we go. All right, y'all. Get your popcorn, as they say. Get your popcorn. I have James McRaven tonight. And even before we start, you all next week, please tune in. I have a millionaire who's coming on, Roderick. Mr. Brown, and he is. I met him at SU, and he is now 7-figure living, and he's going to give us some. He's going to give us some pointers on us on 7-figure living, millionaire living. And so it's going to be Roderick Brown, I think, and it's going to be really good. So, but today we are talking. So here we go. All right. So Valentine's Day was yesterday. And we were talking last week about, are we failing in our communication? Is there a total breakdown with the male, the female, as it pertains to communication? Because you did some research and you found out something interesting about listening and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about that in your research?
Well, one of the major points is about, when we're talking about communication, is making sure we're defining the words that we're using, that both parties understand the definitions behind those words.
Oh God!
When one person says, and I think last week we talked about, and some of the communication was, the women were saying they want a confident man,
right?
And when I heard that, I said, okay, really, I didn't understand what it was they were seeking in a confident man. Was it from the standpoint that the man could stand on his own, wasn't always, I guess, around them, or wanted to know that he was sure of who he was? And when I heard confident, I thought about the word intentional, because when you're intentional, my focus, my preparation, just like tonight. Now, usually I'm in my office,
Right.
especially for a platform such as this. But because my wife teach at night at the university, I'm intentional with not letting her, or not having her go out at night by herself. And so therefore, I am in the car on a broadcast because I'm intentional when it comes to her. And that way she understands that my efforts are towards her and for her best interest. Me being confident, I can be confident within myself, but that doesn't mean that confidence is going to be conveyed to me being intentional towards my wife. My
So
confidence,
yeah, because I want to talk about that. You made a statement. Yeah, he's sitting in the car, uh, and we're gonna talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you made a statement because last week we were talking about having a man with edge and having a
yes,
confident man, and you made a statement about being. If you want somebody confident, that's not confidence does not mean inclusive.
right. Because
Let's talk
because
about
because
that.
in because internally I can be confident in my abilities. That doesn't mean it's going to translate to my relationship. That doesn't mean it's going to carry over to what she's wanting from me. I can be confident internally in my education and my finances, but that's the confidence I have. I can walk in confidence all day long, and that was the question I had last week, and that and we ran out of time because I wanted to understand what it was that the women were saying about confidence, because confidence does not necessarily convey over to the relationship as to what is it that they're seeking out of the man in the relationship when they say confident.
Yeah, because this is what he was saying. To be confident in his context and what he in through his research. If you say I want a man with a little edge, I want a man that's confident. What he's saying is that the word confident means within himself. So we've been asking for somebody to be confident, but not necessarily relational. So
Right.
you want a confident man, but you don't want you're saying one thing, and this is where I wanted to talk about the
Yep.
communication piece. We are saying one thing, not understanding that when you say, I want a man with confidence, well, that confidence to some women after a while seems egotistical. I mean, because the moment when you explained it to me, now I can see why
Right.
people think, oh, he got a chip on his shoulder, and I walk confidently, but that does not mean I am inclusive in a relationship. That confidence does not, confidence is within a person's self, is what he's saying.
Mhm.
And it just, a light bulb came on. Yeah, I am confident, but this is why people can hardly tolerate me because I'm too confident. But I'm thinking, oh, I'm being a good example because that's what I've heard people say that they wanted was a confident man, but it doesn't necessarily translate to a communicative man.
And one of the things that I was thinking about all week was, even with the confidence, if I'm intentional and understand the difference between the two of those identities, and I understand how to deploy them when my wife needs the one that she needs. When my wife called me to code, teach, code whatever with her, interact in her world, she wants me to walk in with the confidence of the husband who's standing by her side. When
Right.
she crossed over and she was AKA last weekend, I showed up with the flowers. I showed up with the suit on. I knew the role that she needed me to be in. And therefore I'm confident in my abilities to put that together. But it was me being intentional about her that made me act upon it. I was intentional to plan it. I was intentional to be there. Everything in me, all of my energy was intentional to make sure that that was her weekend, and that weekend that she would never forget. That's been intentional.
How did you come to that? Because I can, now that you've said it, I can see it. Does that make sense? Now,
Right.
because I think we miss communicating intention. towards the spouse, or uh, uh, and maybe women already do it. Maybe it's just the men that don't do it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I'm going to be transparent here, because coming out of the military, I was very confident and I was egotistical. I had to learn how to be intentional, and it took some counseling. It took talking to people who understood communication. It took reading some books together. We did the five love language book, making sure we understood each other's love language. What is it she's trying to convey when she says certain things? What is it that I'm saying? Are we really communicating verbally and non-verbally to where the other one knows exactly what we need, and not, because a lot of times people give in the area of their comfort. I give you what I'm comfortable giving you.
Right.
And that might not be what the person needs. They might need you to come out of your comfort zone and give them what they need. So if my wife's love language is words of affirmation, and I don't know how to give her words of affirmation, then she's in a relationship that she feels unloved, because she's not getting what she needs. And I can buy her all the diamonds my money can afford. But if she needs words of affirmation, I'm not showing her love in the area that she needs love in. And so therefore being intentional makes me come out of my comfort zone and give her what she needs, to say that this is how she needs love conveyed to her.
Interesting. So here is something from my one of my, I love Charlene. Charlene is always in here. Charlene says confident that a relationship is. So here is what she was trying to define on last week. She said, basically, I want a guy who's confident that a relationship is what he wants. Not to just have a man that wants a relationship or wants the relationship benefits, but knows those benefits come with sacrifices. Some of him, some with come with sacrificing some of himself, and I think that's an interesting. To be able to say he is confident that he wants a relationship, but see, because I get that, but I think we've always said I want a man that's confident. I want a guy, a man with people who want a manly man. They want that guy. They don't want wimpy. They want somebody,
right,
who's gonna stand in and make it happen. But
right.
When you said that, you can be confident that you want a relationship, but still not know how to communicate or be intentional with your actions, right?
But you're right. And when I read that, what I heard, and that's why it's good to get clarification, because what I heard was commitment.
Yes.
I really didn't hear the confidence.
I didn't hear confidence.
I heard commitment.
I heard I want somebody who is committed to making this statement, to say, I might be confident, but I also want someone who is committed to the process.
Right. For better, for worse, even if it's a budding relationship, I want a man who's committed to standing here when the sun is shining or when the rain is falling. I need commitment from you. And I think that was beautiful, the way that she worded that, which, the relationship benefits. Because a lot of times men just want the benefits without the sacrifices. And that's a commitment.
Yeah. And she says to her, it's part of the same ball of wax. She said,
I got you.
She wants somebody who is confident, and that confidence would exude a level of commitment. She wants him to know, this is what I want. You are who. And I heard the same thing I heard. See, it's amazing how men and women see the same, see things and the same thing, but just hear things totally different. Because I heard, I really want a dude. Yeah, I want him confident that he wants me, which means I want him to be committed to me.
Committed, right?
And it's amazing why are we? Is it because of the man and the female as to why we miss these signals or we don't give these signals?
But now this is a part of my research is dealing with lived experiences of the black male. And
Right.
I think it has to do a large part with lived experiences. Black men, just by lived experiences, were not ever, we weren't brought up, we weren't emasculated dealing with communication. A lot of our fathers, the men that we grew up under, taught us about actions. It wasn't about talking, and I remember my dad used to say, if you're gonna go outside and fight, you're gonna fight, but don't go out there with a lot of talking. And that's how we grew up living life.
That's
Was
right.
I'm not a man of a lot of words, but my actions. And so we lack a lot of times communications. I can ask my wife a question, and I know this is gonna be a 2-hour conversation. I gotta be ready for that. I gotta I gotta be ready for. I gotta plan to have some time. I gotta plan that I don't have no meetings coming up because the
You are
question
crazy.
was simple to me. Baby, what color tie looks better with this suit? Well, let's see. So she got to tell me why the color of the tie looks better with the suit. I don't need that. So 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 women have a head start on us in the communication arena. And to me, I think what women in our lives have to do is be patient enough to bring us along, and we have to put, like, I like Miss Ayana Van Zant to say, you got to do the work, beloved. Men, we have to do the work. We have to do the work to become good communicators. We can't put it all on the women and say, well, she's just talking a lot. No, we got to put in the work because of, like Charlene said, if we're going to be committed, then we have to commit to give them what they need, and women need communication, and that is the area I think that men, through lived experiences, we lack.
Coleman has a great question, but here is something that I want you to tackle, and I just want to talk about it just ever so briefly. I think though some men, because dealing with this Kevin Samuels guy, and he's talking about how value men and how value women. Women want high value men, right?
Okay.
Men who make $200,000 and $300,000, and he is killing them, man. He's just busting upside the head because uh because he's telling them, basically, you're not this, you're not that. But his caveat is that in the realm of communication, men become more silent because we have a tendency not to want to create chaos.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
instead of trying to communicate the moment, men become even more introspective. So you don't know. So we really do become slow. And you talking to somebody who run his mouth all the time. But I'm learning. I have learned to not have quick responses, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I'm not effectively communicating. If that
What,
makes.
but there's something you said at the beginning when we as men have issues in certain areas. And you were saying, the ladies, why is it that you guys can go out and you can talk to your girlfriends, but we can't talk to one another?
Right.
I believe that we talk confidently in areas of our comfort. I talk all the time at work because I understand the Department of Commerce, understand what you want me to do. That's my strong area. When we're talking in relationship, if men lack trust, if men lack sensitivity, if we lack communication, we're not going to speak a lot in areas that we're lacking. And so it's because if it's an area that I'm lacking, there's not a lot of communication. And I feel that we become passive aggressive,
I agree.
where I won't say anything because I don't want this to be an argument. So therefore, I shut down. I
Yep.
pull my emotions in. I go in this shell, and I just let you talk for 2 hours, and you tell me why that tie looked better with the suit than the one I picked out, and then I'm going to agree with you after the 2 hours.
Right.
And so And so there's a level of comfort that I think men have to get to in order to have these conversations. And one of the things that I had to get to is to understand my wife is not responsible for my level of growth. It's not her responsibility.
That now that's good. And I
It's
think that that goes both. Does it go
that's
both
yeah.
ways? Let me ask that question. Does it go both ways? Are we
Well,
responsible for their level of growth if they are not responsible for ours?
but see now, I would put a caveat in that
Okay.
in the area that they might be weak, because if they're already strong in communication, then it's up to me to get up for that growth. You know, whether it's reading a book, whether it's going to counseling, whatever I need to do to get me to that level, to where we are more equally yoked in that area, that's my responsibility. If it's the woman coming in, like I think you said the gentleman name was Kevin, that was talking about high value women, high
Oh yeah.
value men.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So therefore, when there's an area that the man needs the woman to come up in, it's her responsibility. And I think that both people have to see the importance of the other person's need. If the woman has a need for the communication, I have to see the importance in that. And if
Right.
I don't see the need, then I won't do anything. I'll continue to watch television until she stops complaining about it. And then I think, oh, it must be okay. No, she just realized you're not going to change it.
Right. Coleman has a question. Coleman says the problem is, and let's talk about this, is some relationships, when you learn the love language of your spouse, if it keeps flipping, it causes confusion on what they need. So you are always changing. In other words, what he's saying is like one day your love language is words of affirmation, and then next week your love language is gifts. So right when he feel like he got the love language of affirmation down, now you done flipped it to gifts. Is that a byproduct of not knowing yourself?
Well, when it and
Because if you say I have a love language, a particular love language,
right.
and then you switch that, now the guy is trying to play catch up, because then it's like, well, I don't know what you want. What me and my wife just had that this weekend. I, I was trying to, your words last week pierced my heart, just hurt my heart. So I was
Okay.
trying to be intentional, with
Hmm.
something, and boy, she could not figure out what she wanted. I mean, she just couldn't come, and I didn't want to get something that that she didn't want. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do
Uh-huh,
that,
uh-huh.
and so I ended up just giving her the money to what I thought she wanted, somewhere in the middle. I just kind of met her in the middle, and I don't know what she did with it. I'm gonna ask her for $20 as soon as I get off here, because she got more money. She got more money than I got. But but that whole notion of not knowing, not being able to communicate. So when the love languages changes, I think this is what Coleman is saying. And I think Charlene's saying change is not bad, but what it is, change brings about confusion sometimes to the man, when you, because so let me give you an example. If your wife has said tonight, no, you stay home, I got this. Now, how would
Uh-huh.
you have felt with that communication?
Um, Actually, she said that, and I got on in the car because, and I'm and I'm gonna tell you why, and and I'm and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because because being the provider and the protector of my house is my responsibility.
Oh
She
Lord,
might tell me, you don't have to go tonight," but that's my responsibility. I take that as my responsibility.
you've
You
taken
know,
that on.
I take that on, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because as we started driving over here, and she said, "Hey, let's just stop and get something to eat." The Everything that she said, no, you can stay. Okay, because I know my wife is gonna say things. If she see that I'm tired, if she see that I got something else to do, she's gonna try to honor what else I have to do. In her attempt to honor me, it was to put herself out there. I have to understand that as the man. I understand you're trying to honor me and say stay at home, get your rest. I know you have a podcast tonight, but nothing takes precedent over her safety and my role as her protector. I'm going to be in this car. We're going to come over here. We had a great dinner, and she got out of this car smiling all the way in the building. But I
Wow.
had to
How long?
understand why
How
she
long?
said what she said. I had to understand that
Got
because
you.
I know how to read my wife. I know how to read her and her intentions.
But what's her intentions? Her intentions for you was genuine. You just overrode that.
It
Wh-
was genuine. It was absolutely genuine.
Now, when do you know? See, here comes the communication piece. When do you
Uh-huh.
know to override it?
I always override any area that I say as a man that's my responsibility. She
Got
see, I would rather have her respect of knowing this is the man I have. I know how he's gonna respond, and I know how he feels about me because he's intentional. I need her to know that no matter what the situation, this is his character. See, every behaviors, behaviors that we have around each other is what the other person begins to know as that's my character, and I know that's her character based on her behaviors. I know her character, and so I'm reading character instead of that one behavior. See, and a lot of times we allow one behavior to say I'm confused. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're
right.
not confused when you know the character.
And
You're
I think
you you
yes, I
you
agree with
you,
you
you might you
100%.
might you might not understand that moment of behavior. And I think we talked about that earlier. 1 minute to say this, 1 minute. Stop reading momentary behaviors and start understanding character. I know my wife's character, and her character say, I want my husband to take me to class. I want my husband to be by my side. Now her behavior said, baby, go ahead and stay home tonight because I know you need the rest. No, I'm going to stay true to my character. And she reciprocated that by now she's smiling and she's okay. And I think that the deeper we get into relationships, we start understanding and separating because we're not going to always be on the same page because of a particular behavior. And one of the things a counselor told me was stay in the moment, James. Don't let something that happened this morning ruin a moment this evening. Stay in this moment this evening. And too many times we allow behaviors to continue to roll from 1 hour to the next hour, and now's a day. No, stop. Stay solid in your character instead of that momentary behavior.
That's interesting. I got like 20,000 questions out of that, but because yeah, we're going to talk about that. We got to get to it. Yes, we're responsible for our own growth. We learn differently because of what we were exposed to growing up. I totally,
Absolutely.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And I think most men, at least, you know what I mean. I would venture to say 45 and up, maybe 45 and up, come from a generation of fathers that you did not see communication. And if you grew up in church, you did
Yes.
not even see intimacy. Church does not even breed intimacy with husbands and wives because
Right.
we were working in so many different capacities. Either one was a preacher and one was the praise and worship leader or usher, so you never really saw them together. And then without that whole notion, this whole thing of communicating, nobody taught me that. I had to actually try to figure out, how do you learn? How do you talk? And I still fail at it because now I'm more in my mind than I am. And I like what you said, and we've got to go back to that. Being in the knowing the character of a person and not
Yes.
the moment of a person. And I
Yes.
think we mishandle people because we take the moment and we make that their character.
Yes.
And somebody said something to me today, and sent me some information, and they were trying to they were really trying to get me to be cautious about saying something, right? And I was saying, I was very, very careful about my responses. We were doing this via text, and I was very confident, very, very cautious about my responses. But what I said it to myself is, this person can't know my character,
Okay.
because what you are saying that I did, that's not my character.
Right.
And I had to understand, you don't know my character. You really don't know me. If you think that's me, then you really don't know me. Because if you understood my character, I would never do that. That's not who I am. But they weren't a spouse or anything. They was just they were a member that we were having a conversation about, and I don't expect them to know. Uh, I don't expect them to understand that. But let's get back to you. If you are not on this podcast, you are tired. Your wife said, "I know you tired. Please stay home." So if you wasn't on this podcast, I guess you'd be asleep in the car right now.
Absolutely.
See, if my wife had said, "Baby, I see you, you tired," I'd be like, "Phew, God, thank you." And
And
I went to sleep.
but the reason why I say that is because when I was in the military and they told us you need to go on maneuvers, you've been up 21 hours, but you got something else to do. I responded with, okay, I got to summon the strength to keep moving. Why can't we summon the same strength in our marriage? What was it about that command that I don't follow God's command and say, okay, but this is your wife. This is
Right.
your wife, and this is what you need to do for your wife. I have to summon the same energy that I did with everything else. And we started the conversation by saying how we can talk in different arenas, but we can't communicate in marriages. To
That's
me,
true.
the same thing, behaviors and my character in my marriage should be my character out in the world. Because the character that I have in front of my wife, as it comes from God and I'm under his authority, so that's my character, and that should be where I'm building character. So the same thing is when she's asking or she say, well, hey, you can stay home. The energy that I get, that God's going to give me to say, no, no, okay, I'm going to give you the strength, but you need to keep it moving. And you going, because I'm here for what, an hour, 2 hours. But at the end of the day, the benefit far outweighs that little bit of sleep that I would have got if I'd have stayed at home.
Got you. Got you.
Far
Charlene
outweighs it.
says, Charlene says, it's also hard to stay in the moment because women tend to hold things in, so we don't make our black men feel devalued. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a thin line, especially when the discussion turns into an argument. What
Um,
say?
okay. Oh, let me take this one because we talked about the lived experiences before. And see, my lived experience was I grew up and I never heard affectionate words. I
Right.
never heard I love you. Um, and I literally I had came back from the military. And one day my mom at the end of a conversation said, I love you. And I called my sister and I said, is mom okay? Is she sick? And my sister said, wow, what's going on? I said, mom said I loved you on the end of the phone call. And she said, wait, hold on. Let me call my other sister. Maybe somebody knows something. And
That we
so
don't know.
and we don't know because I didn't grow up in the home where, it's tuck me in at night and I love you and kiss on the
That's right.
forehead. And I didn't grow up around that. So when my
That's right.
wife started saying, I love you, I didn't have anything to equate that to.
Oh, that
And I
is
knew
funny.
she wanted me to say something back, but I didn't have the emotional sensitivity to say I love you back. I'm going, and it really hurt me to say, okay, what do you want me to do? What what do you want me to I can say it. But my wife would say, but you ain't saying it like you mean it. Okay, wait a minute.
Oh God.
So
That is so
so
funny to me. I'm
so
sorry.
it's these experiences that the therapist said is gonna be like peeling an onion. And the more we peel back, it might be more hurtful while we're peeling back until we get to the core of the issue.
Now, did you decide to do counseling on this matter for you, or was it something that triggered that, or you're trying to become a better man? Because I know you're like me. You're studious, so
Yes.
you're very intellectually sound, if you will, and so you're going to process up here. Is that what triggered it? That you wanted to be better? Is that why you went to counseling?
Well. Since we're gonna be transparent,
Let's do it.
um, because because I had other failed relationships,
Right,
and the common denominator was me.
right.
So they didn't know each other. The only thing that they knew was me.
Was
And
you?
so once I met my wife, I started saying, wait a minute, whoa. But now she's saying the same thing somebody else said. So this has to be me at this point. And
Gotcha.
through prayer and opening myself up to the word of God, that's when it was okay. When she said, let's go to counseling, even though it was tough, I knew it was necessary.
Got you. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. Because I know a lot of men that counseling is not they never gonna do counseling.
right.
I'm just not gonna do it. Especially black men, because we feel that there's something wrong with us if I have to admit that I have an issue.
Well, I think that's black people, period.
Yeah.
They struggle with the notion that they need to maybe talk it out. Me and my sister have this conversation about, and it probably is the reason why I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, is because nobody told us. I I I feel like I'm grounded because I tell the truth, right? Like
Mm,
I talk the truth, even if it's bad, even if it's me, even if it's shameful.
right,
I speak truth. I don't have a problem talking about my past, my father, my mom, the whole 9 yards, growing up in the projects, who I
right,
was, what I felt like, my insecurities. But I don't think black people as a whole want to touch that sore spot through the area of counseling. And I think by that we tend to have relationships based on what we saw and
right.
not who we are. It is
And it keeps the other side um distant and isolated from getting 100% from you.
I
It,
agree.
it 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 sells them short because I felt like my wife wanted to pry into my life in an area that I felt was off limits to her. And it wasn't until
Oh,
I felt like she deserves the whole 100, not just the 80 that you chose to give her.
wow. Stop. Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that because is that a part of the challenges to the audience? Is that a part of the challenge that there are areas that you feel that the spouse shouldn't have access to? Or you feel like they are going to use that in an argument. I think that's my situation is the vulnerability comes up in an argument. So most men are saying,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to give you that part of me because I know the moment you don't like something, you're going to use that against me. So I'd rather just not even say nothing about it. But then that is
Ooh,
what
say it.
yeah, and that's what creates this disconnect, if you will, because we're there, but we're not there.
Right.
We're here, but we're not here, and it's because there are areas in each other's life that we're saying, "Nah, I don't think I want to share that with you. I don't think I want to share with you that I feel that or that I feel this." And I think we're having that conversation. Reginald Coleman says men and women struggle with counseling. It can be very beneficial, but the fear factor is always there, and that's the fear of touching something that you
Yeah.
don't want nobody to touch.
Right. but see, it came to a point in me, and I think it goes back to, I think it was Charlene's definition when we first started about confidence and wanting someone who was there, and wanted the responsibilities to be there. I
Yeah.
wanted the responsibility for my wife to have total access to me. I wanted that responsibility. And so I had to take the chance of being vulnerable, so that she could trust my character, because I was trusting her character, that she wasn't going to bring it back up, that this was not going to become a pawn in a battle or an argument, that what was said in that room stayed in that room, and it was for the benefit of making our marriage stronger and better. It
Good.
wasn't for, let me gain a pawn, so that the next time you say something, I'm going to throw it out there and I'm going to move it around on the board the way I see fit. So it was a character building process on both of our sides at counseling. It was
That's
character on
powerful.
me to be transparent. It was character on her not to bring it up.
Right. Now, Charlene, you are saying something that I don't know if I agree with. She says, I think a lot of us feel the past is the past and has no relevance on now. And well, now I agree with that. I think people think that, but I don't believe people operate like that. I think people may think that they say, oh, the past is the past and it carries nothing. It carries no weight right now. But in all actuality, my sister says it this way: your past has no legs. The only way it got to your present is you carried it.
But and I think I would have to disagree with, I on a certain level. And I see what she's saying. I really do. I see what she's saying. But I think that the past helps to develop who we are now. And if there's a part of
You
who we are now that is causing a problem in the communication and relationship, then the past can't stay in the past, because I need to know why I'm doing what I'm doing that's causing a problem.
listen, and that's what I was saying. Because you haven't, here we go again. The reason why we say it like that is you have not dealt with that past. You refuse, you bring it and you still cover it.
Right.
You put it in your bag and you stuff it. You never deal with it. You bring the past. It gets there because you never discuss it. You never talk about it, and the um it is the gateway to me to problems in your present, because you will take a moment in your present, and if it reminds you of something in your past that you have never dealt with, never talked about, now you judge this present moment
Hmm.
based on the past relationship. And if you never deal with that, you're going to sabotage your present moment because you brought
Absolutely.
that with you, but you didn't expose it. You were afraid to expose it. And that's where we talk about that. Wait a minute, look like we got some stuff. Yeah, it does. Your past can affect the present person. I agree with you. Uh, Dr. Coleman says that's powerful. We can be afraid they will hold it over us, and I agree with you, Coleman. And we have to. What he says, what Dr. McRavion says, is so powerful. Can we trust the character of the person that we chose?
Right. That see that becomes a bigger issue than what I told the person. The not being able to trust the character is bigger than my past issues, because
That's
now
right.
that's a present issue. The present issue now is I can't trust you. I can't
That's right.
trust the character in you. That's bigger than what I done brought to you to the table about whatever I dealt with from the past, because now we have a trust issue that has nothing to do with my past. It has to do with your character.
boy. And if that is if that is now I'm getting all right. So here is something. Here's something. All right. Here's something. Having a Making a mistake does not mean that you have a character issue
Right.
to me,
Right.
because a mistake, a lapse of judgment, if
Uh-huh.
you really know your partner,
Right.
a lapse in judgment, that partner, now this is how I liken it. Boy, only on Behind the Veil. This is how I liken it, because we're saying if you have that lapse of judgment and you do that, here is the thing that I have learned. If you hide it, you have not dealt with your past.
That's right.
If you bring it forth, ask for forgiveness, repent of that action, and
Confess and
try
forsake.
to confess it and try to be better about that. Now you have taken your past and you have exposed it. But when you cover that thing up, when you cover it up, you have not dealt with your past, and it severs a relationship of trust, because now you attack a person's character when it's not the now I have to question whether or not, what kind of character do you really have if you're not willing to let go of yesterday. That's how I see it. Let's ask this. Yes, we got to talk about it to move forward in our relationship, whether it be between us or a third party involved. I agree with you, Cynthia. It must be communicated. Here we go with the communication again.
That was why, because when we first started talking about it, we didn't have the necessary tools to have the communication. That's why we had to get a counselor. And we got a Christian counselor that wasn't at our church. They didn't know us from nobody, just walked off the street. So when they heard it for the first time, and they were just rightfully dividing the word of truth. And they was calling each one of us out on our own issues. And that way, they gave us the necessary tools that we needed to be effective communicators. And we started noticing things, and it became almost like a game. Hey, are you getting over into such and such area? Hey, we spoke. And it became, once we learned the tools of effective communication, and saying, okay, let's say your wife come in from work. That's not the time to tell her about an issue that you might be having with her. That ain't the time.
Right.
You have to set up the time for communication. There's a time and place for everything under the sun. So you have to set it up. How was your day? Come on in. Hey, take you an hour, whatever. Hey, I got dinner ready. If you have a few minutes this evening, I'd like to talk to you. And if not this evening, can we schedule a time this week that we can sit down and talk? Effective communication, you have to have the tools in your tool belt so that you can be effective. And you can't be effective unless you're willing to, first of all, engage the process, and second of all, get the necessary help that you need, because we're all not good at it. And just like me and the good bishop, we keep going to school to get more knowledge. But when do we get more knowledge in communication? And I took a public speaking class, but it didn't help me communicate with my wife.
Now that is true. That is true. So what are some of the tools? I mean, just real quickly, some of the things that you've learned, some of the two, and listen to this audience. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the Bible. I believe in prayer. I believe in all of that. But what I have noticed is this, and this is funny. What I have noticed is it doesn't matter how powerful I am. If you don't believe in my character, my prayer is not going to be effective. If you mad as fish grease at me and you don't think that I am what I say I am, me grabbing your hands and praying, me grabbing your hands and praying,
boy,
I'm just telling the truth.
Right,
Cause you sit up there holding my hands and be like, you don't know God. You ain't God don't even know you, yo
right.
heathen. I'm praying for you, my wife. And then next week you be like, that joke ain't even saved real good. So if you don't know his character, then it means you're wasting time trying, because that to me becomes hypocritical. It
Right.
becomes hypocritical when you want to play a part and not really be genuine about it. Not be genuine about it.
And the question that you were asking about the tools,
Yes,
um,
let's talk about it.
we
Okay.
have to, we have to first of all, like I was saying, you have to set the stage for communication. It's about timing. Timing is so important with communication. You can't communicate with the man when he sit down and watch a football game. That ain't the time to have a serious conversation. He ain't heard a word you said. That's like me with a movie. If I'm watching a movie, you can't get mad because I didn't hear what you said, baby. Didn't you see? Didn't you see Neo just pull down a helicopter on the Matrix? I ain't trying to have this conversation. So timing is huge, and setting it up and being patient with the other person and respecting the other person's time. If they can't have it this evening, you you got to control yourself to where now you're not operating out of guilt. Well, I want to talk right now. Stop. See, right there, communication is broken down. So even if the other person speaks to you, is out of resentment because they didn't have the
That's
time and
right.
you're forcing them to do this. It's almost like Bishop was saying, if you don't know his character and you're mad, even if he say let's pray, you sitting there squeezing each other hand and saying I ain't even listening to this. So it's not effective. And that's when we don't have effective communication, is when there's a force on one side or the other to
That is
have
true.
this communication, then somebody's already shut down. They might have heard what you said, but they didn't effectively listen to what you said, which is a cornerstone of effective communication. Not that I just hear it, but did I listen to it in order to say how are we gonna make it better? So timing, effective listening, and something that was big for us is when we communicate, are we making sure that we're defining the meaning of words? Me saying back, and that's a part of the effective communication. Okay, baby, was I correct when I heard you say that you want to go to such and such movies on Friday night, and that's what you repeating what because sometimes we can hear it, and I heard it totally different than what you just said, and I can say it back, and she'll say that is not what I said. So repeating what you thought was said, and let them say, oh well, no, but what I so that there's some clarification, because you can say something, both of you walk away thinking that you understood, and then when it don't happen, the other person's mad because what you said, get a clear understanding as to what each other's saying. So set up the timing, make sure that you're doing effective listening, make sure that you get clarification, even if you think that you heard them. Hey baby, so you just said, let them hear that, because whether it's a man or woman, no matter which side, when you say it back, first of all, you getting so many points in your love bank because the woman saying, dang, you heard exactly what I said. And you
Right.
was able to repeat it back. So this is when communication becomes fun, because now you have the tools, and the wife and the man. So even when the man say something, because we don't put a lot of descriptive words around our communication. Hey, I'm going to the barbershop. That's it. My
That's
wife
it.
gonna say, "Hey, I gotta go to the hair shop. Then I'm gonna get my eyebrows done, and she's gonna do my eyelashes, and I'm gonna be okay, baby. Just say you having a beautification day. I gotta hear all the steps, but that's a part of the communication. Is so, baby, you're gonna have 3 things done a day. You're gonna have a wonderful time doing, and so that way we heard everything. And so these are some of the simple tools that we can use in effective communication. And don't ever push the issue when the other ones say that they're not ready. And if you want to have that conversation, then you need to start praying about it and say, okay, well, baby, when are we gonna have a conversation? Because one of the things that I used to do when I was in my avoidance period was I used to always say, well, we'll have it later. Well, later never came.
Right.
Give me 2 days later.
I
I
don't
still
want to
ain't
talk
ready to
about
talk about it.
it.
I ain't
Right.
talking about it. And then my comeback was, you still on that?
Right.
I done
I'm
moved on. You
already
still
over
on
it.
that?
I done already got
I'm
over
done. I'm done. You still on it? And that's not effective communication, because women need to be heard. They
But
need
but
to be
but
heard.
I also think that there is coming something different is happening in the atmosphere, because I feel like men now have made such a concession over the years.
Mm.
And it is all now, ladies, I'm gonna say this because I think the black man, more specifically the black man, has found out that he is the commodity. He's the choice. And so they are acting differently now
Mm.
because they're saying, I, it's not just what I bring, it's what you bring too. It's what do you bring? And they need just as much communication now. Um, and that's why I was saying it really is, that's what makes it difficult, because you really got to have two people who really want to try to communicate properly
Hmm.
to each other and effectively to each other. So I'm what I tried to do now, and I think I'm what they call an over. I need to go sit on the couch. I'm an overcompensator. I'm going to sit on the couch because I just do stuff completely. So now I don't say anything because I'm trying to be slow to speak, slow to wrath, quick to hear, to the point where I'm so slow now until I'm trying to make sure I'm listening to those verbal, and then you said something, and non-verbal communication.
Yeah.
And we got to get into that because
You,
you still
well,
can't expect me to know everything because I'm not a mind reader. But
you know what? And one of the things that I wanted to share is, male or female, when you get into a relationship, when you thinking you liking this person, put your non-negotiables up front. That's where your power is, and that's where your value is.
say it again. Say it one
When
more
you
time.
when you put your non-negotiables up front, that's your power and that's your value.
Talk about it. Let's
Because
bring that out. Let's talk about the
be-
non-negotiables.
because if your non-negotiable is, I need someone who can communicate effectively with me, either he's going to be willing to learn how to do it or he's not. You need to know at that point, do I want to now invest more energy into this relationship? Because I know I need an effective communicator up front. See, to me, the biggest problem is when we let relationships and time pass before we start talking about what our needs are. We just start enjoying company. We can't enjoy company for 6 years and then start talking non-negotiables. And so the other person said, well, you don't dealt with me this long. Why I need to change now? It's so hard to change after you've gotten comfortable. You've accepted what I came into it with. And now you want all of this growth in the middle of it. So know what you want. And I'll go back to the brother that you was talking about, the value and the value of the man and the woman. The value is when a woman and a man know their value and know what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate. I told my wife up front, day one, this is what I will and will not tolerate. Because I had been through so many failed relationships, I knew exactly what I didn't want. And I knew
Right.
what I wanted. And either you can or you can't. And I'm not going to be mad at you. We're not going to fall out. If I see you, I'm going to still speak to you. But have your non negotiables. Know your value before you try to add somebody else's worth to you. Because their worth won't benefit you if it doesn't fit your value.
Now that's true.
No matter how much they're worth, it ain't gonna benefit your value because they're not meeting your non-negotiables.
So what happens if you are in a relationship and now you are wanting to say, now wait a minute. Some stuff I tolerated. Is that when you think counseling should be the process? Because now your non-negotiable is coming up more and more daily and daily, and you've tolerated it, but now you're in it and you're like, no, yeah, this is a non-negotiable here. I need to. Is
But
that a
but but see,
counseling
but see,
moment or just a
but see,
communication moment?
but see, at that point, it has to be communication because the time for non-negotiables is pretty much over.
Got
The,
you.
the time for non-negotiables, you don't sacrifice the non-negotiable for 6 years. So it
Right.
can't be a non-negotiable because you've already proven that you can live with them not doing it. So it's no longer a non-negotiable.
Got you.
At this point, it's an effort for us to communicate more effectively, is an effort for us to have a better relationship in marriage, is an effort for me to see how committed you are for us to go to the next level because getting married in the ceremony, it was as beautiful as it could be. But everything after that is the marriage. And I want, and see, and it's how you package it. It's packaging in communication is everything.
Right.
Baby, I love you. I love you. And I want us to do better in this area. And here's what I'm willing to try. And if you can try this with me, let's do this together. It's how you gotta package it because at this point, it can't be a non-negotiable. It's something that I want us to do together to move this relationship to another point. Because marriage and relationships are about stages in life. And the way we were married when we had kids is not the marriage we're gonna have when we're empty nesters.
That's right.
And so we
That's
have
right.
to be able to move the marriage to different stages, and everybody has to be on board with this shift.
Now that's good. Wait a minute. You got to say that. Wait a minute, because you got to say that again when you say move the marriage to stages, because it's not going to stay in the same stage. So
No,
you have to communicate together effectively to move to the next stage. It can't stay
that's right.
like it was. If you add something, if you get sick or I've gained weight,
Hello.
the stage has changed. The day I gained weight, the
Hello.
stage just changed, and we got
Yes.
to move with the stage. If
Right.
you factor in a child, the stage just changed. You
Right.
if you lost the job, it just changed. We've got to move the marriage to the stage that you are living in. Or if you come into a lot of my greatest concern is for my marriage, is my greatest concern is not poverty, is success.
Okay.
I wonder what will happen when I become super successful. Because I'm gonna tell you who don't want to go to nobody's job when I become real successful.
Me. But you know, but
Me.
that is so true in relationships when we get to different stages, and our spouses have to acknowledge this is a different stage in life. I think if I had entered a a a a, a, a a PhD program with someone who did not understand the energy and the time constraints that it took to achieve that level of academia, we would have had a problem in that shift in my life because I wouldn't have been available to her. But
Right.
because she was working on the same level of academia, we
Yeah, because
matched
both
up
of y'all doctors.
because it became a joint venture. And
Right.
so hollering back between offices, hey, what time you gonna shut down? It's about 1 a.m.
Right.
So there was an understanding. And a lot of times people have private shifts in a in
Ooh.
a in a collective marriage. And when you
Ooh.
have a private shift, without even thinking about the spouse, that's when problems start because you didn't communicate. Hey, baby, I'm thinking about going back to school. Really? Oh, you already signed up? You registered? And we didn't have a discussion because you took an individual private thing and said, I'm going to do this without any regard that you're in a relationship.
Boy, well, I'm in trouble because I done CDs, I done a book, I done a podcast. Look, I told my wife and children, I think I want to be I love watching all kinds of castle, NCIS, anything, And so I told them the other day, I think I want to be a fireman or a private investigator. I think I could solve some crimes. Both of them looked at me and said, "Don't you bring nothing else up in this
Not another thing. Not another thing.
don't you bring another thing up in this house." But I think I think that may have been a challenge because we do move individually as
Right.
men, thinking we are helping the collective. When you are an aggressive man,
Right.
as me, I'm thinking if I can do this and get this done and make this happen, but without real consideration, it may create a little. When I leave off here, I'm gonna go upstairs and say, see if my wife got a problem with me doing all this stuff. I mean, I'm doing it now, but
Well, but one of the things that I use as a filter is when the word says that a spouse cannot withhold themselves from the other unless with consent during
right,
prayer and fasting.
right,
I look at that in my not just prayer and fasting, but before I engage like another event or doing something else, I look at how strained my time is already with my wife. Do I have enough available time that I'm not going to take the already limited time away from her?
right,
Or is there something else I can cut out? If I can't cut something else out, I can't keep cutting her out because now we're just two people living in the same house.
right,
We got separate lives because how much do we interact? How much do I see her where we're just sitting down watching NCIS? How
right,
how much time are we spending just having communication? Or are we just passing, hey, how you doing? Hey, okay, all right, you going to bed? Okay. We that's the nonverbals to me, is
right,
knowing that, hey, you know what? We're gonna sit down and have dinner together. Everything can't be about, I mean, how much success do I need? Because my wife doesn't need any of that. My wife just needs me.
right. But that is effectively communicated. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because some women want you to have success, so you have to know the
Right.
character of whoever it is that you're connected
That's
to.
it.
Because some women may say, "Go get as much success as you can possibly get," and
That's right.
women and keep on getting it and
That's right.
send that check. But you have to know the character of your
That's right.
spouse. They may want more. They may not. She may only want you, and obviously she is fine with you sitting in the car uh, at nighttime while she teaching and going to sleep and being on the podcast and all that good stuff. I'm I'm gonna tell her got my brother sitting outside in the cold. And
No, no, I got the car on now. I got the car on.
Make Raven, I appreciate you.
Speaking of such, she just got in the car.
Good God Almighty, and the podcast is
Thing.
just
On the
now over.
podcast.
Oh, uh-oh.
and, and the
You know,
podcast is over. How about that?
Okay.
Look, thank you so much for your time. I spent time with him while you was in there teaching and playing with them little students and stuff right there. I helped him.
listen, never playing with the students. Never. These
You-
are adults I teach. Thank
These
you.
are adults. So I thank you all so much for your time. You gave out a lot of good information. Hopefully, we'll be able to glean from this and become better in our relationships and our communications. I'll do a wrap up. One of the things you said is, we must learn how to listen. We must understand that whole listening piece. We must decipher words. What exactly are we saying? How are we saying what we're saying? What else did we say? You have to get the
understanding
character,
the tools. Right.
understanding the tools, understanding the character, making sure if you are in the genesis of a relationship, non-negotiables are you should pull them up first. And so this is great information. Thank you all so much for going through counseling and then for sharing that stuff with us so that we can have better relationships. I'm guilty of making stuff. I need to pull the wife in and let her know, okay, I ain't got nothing else to do. This is it. I'm finished. I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm going upstairs right now and just make sure that she good, but it's already in the works.
Amen. Amen. It's too late for her to have a non-negotiable.
It's too late for a non-negotiable. It's already too late. Too late. And so men are confident, but you want them to be committed, not just confident individually, but you want them to be intentional and making sure that the character of that man, he has to know that what he promised he would do, regardless of whether or not you don't want him to do that, if he has been intentional about it, then he's going to do what he said he was going to do and make that provision. Look, I'm being helped. You helped me. You saved me about $150 from sitting on the couch, at least tonight.
All right now.
And so I appreciate you guys, but I'm going to sit on that couch. I think something wrong with me, but all
right now.
I'm gonna go talk to the people. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the time, my brother. I appreciate the time.
No, I appreciate the time. Thank you to your wife for allowing us to have this moment. Listen, guys, I gotta go. This man has been wonderful. Y'all join me next week. I'm talking to a millionaire next week, and he's gonna talk to us about being the transparencies and then the tools for 7 figures. Tools for 7 figures. We're going to be talking about that next week. Roderick Brown. I call him Rod Brown. And so it's going to be really good. Y'all join us. I appreciate you again, sir. Thank you so much for tonight. I'm playing something to get us out of here so we can get out of here. I got to go. Y'all get on out of here. Thank you, Faye. Even though you went over at A&T, God bless your heart. God bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Rams are still.
All right.
I love you guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
I will see you. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
that's
sir.
My friend. Y'all, we out. He's a mighty God. Yep. He heals the broken heart and picks up the wound. He's the one that's always there, morning, night, or noon. He puts the stars in space. This song should have been at the Super Bowl. His strength always prevails, and he will never change. I tell you, he's a mighty, what a mighty God we serve. Nobody like our God. Yeah, he's a mighty God. Cynthia, you better not bring nothing else to that house. Wisdom is untold. He lifted the broken one. I know it. My wife gonna kill me if I bring one more. Oh Lord. That's funny, Cynthia. I can't bring nothing else to the house. Nobody like our God. Oh Lord. Help us, James. I like this song. He's a mighty God. Cynthia, really? Really? Don't do that to me. don't know why that's so funny to me. Are you trying to get on the bishop?
That's all I'm gonna say. Trouble hits my face.
Yes, Charlene. I'm gonna hide it in the car trunk.
Said I'm gonna seek his face.
That's how y'all do y'all dresses and stuff. Boy, y'all funny. Y'all really gonna get on me like that. I gotta be tell my wife I can't bring nothing else to the crib.
Said I got the victory.
Boy, you are funny, Charlene. I'ma hide it in the car. She don't look at.
Said I got the victory.
Boy, y'all are funny to me.
He's mighty with his words. He's mighty with his hands. He's mighty in his heart.
We serve a mighty God.
He has a master plan.
Y'all keep serving him.
Mighty God.
He's a wonderful God. I'm Stephen Williams, behind the veil. You say, mighty, mighty God. I gotta go till our next appointed time. Thank you for joining me behind the veil. I'm Stephen Williams. They call me the good bishop, but ain't nobody good like God. Until our next appointed time. Bye, y'all.